What a time to be alive. Truly, what a time to be alive in this current political situation. You have a Hindu Indian medical scammer who is the GOP conservative candidate for governor of Ohio. You have the GOP completely backtracking on all of its promises that it made to voters to get elected. You have Groypers making Amy Acton edits on Twitter, which, to be completely honest, kind of go hard, I'm not gonna lie.
You look so pretty when you tell me that you love me. I wish that I could lie, but my mind gets in the way. I know you think that I'm always way too self-aware.
And you have yet another round of Fed accusations coming at Nick Fuentes. This, again, as I said, what a time to be alive in American politics. And what a time to be a young person in a time of American politics. So let's kind of just go through this a little bit. So obviously, everybody knows that Trump ran on a platform of no new immigration and deportations and a border wall and the overall general promises that he always makes that never fulfills on. And see how that's turning out. They pulled ICE out of Minneapolis because protesters were protesting too much, I guess. They've just stopped reporting the deportations because they're so low after running on a mass platform of mass deportations. And in fact, now Trump is saying that we need to have more immigrants come in and is legalizing immigrants who are the farmers and some of those day laborers. Which is interesting because I know of several of my friends who would love to get jobs doing day laboring, but they just don't want to be paid criminal slave wages. So again, that's a whole discussion. And you got these guys coming in and they're paying cents on the dollar and they can't do anything because they're illegal, and the immigrants are dependent on their employers for this money, so they can't say anything, they won't say anything, and you see this all the time. You have Vivek Ramaswamy running for the Republican conservative governor of Ohio, which is kind of crazy, seeing as how he is a practicing Hindu who hates white people and says that we need more migration. I wonder where the migrants would be coming from. I can only assume. Who says that America is just a set of ideals and values that can apply to anybody, which is interesting because if I were to say that India is just a set of ideals and values that can apply to anybody who lives there, I feel like he would not be happy with that. So this is who the conservatives are running. This is who won the GOP election for Ohio. And needless to say, we are entering a very interesting time in American politics that will go down in the history books, I'm sure. You also have Nick Fuentes, the king of the dissident alt-right movement, voting and encouraging everybody to vote Democrat in the midterm elections. And people, because of this, are calling him a Fed. And this is now 2 weeks of Fed accusations from people like Dan Bilzerian and Averall to basically anybody on Twitter who doesn't watch Nick, who I assume doesn't watch Nick, because if they would actually just watch and hear him explain why this needs to be the case, it's one of the most, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like just an IQ filter, I guess. This is just, I don't even know how you can watch him in good faith and then say, oh, he's a Fed, we're doing all that. I just don't get it. Watching him, and when you watch him break it down, it's one of the things where I'm just like, this is an IQ filter. There's no other way to explain it. Because the argument goes like this: if you vote Democrat in the midterms, what it will potentially do is put Democrats in Congress. Now, for those of you who never took a high school civics class or don't understand American government setup, let me explain this to you. Congress has the ability to check the presidency. When the founding fathers set up the American government system, they established checks and balances so that no one group was more powerful than the other. By having Democrats in Congress, what it does is it allows them to override vetoes that the president may do. It also allows them to begin investigations and initiate different processes in government. So, for all of you bitching and complaining that you want the Epstein files released, they can do that. They can override presidential veto and begin the process to release the Epstein files and to continue and to blockade all of the things that Trump is trying to do. What it also does is it tells the GOP that money doesn't buy votes. At the end of the day, they can have all the funding they want, but if they don't have the votes, then they're not going to get into power. And we see this with people like Casey Putsch, for example. He didn't raise a whole lot of money, as he continuously tells us, but he still got 18% of the vote. I mean, that is incredible in and of itself. Now, my opinions on Casey Putsch are still being formed, and I'm not going to speak about that right now. But the thing is, we have seen that the GOP is subservient to its donors and political lobbies, right? Am I the only one who's seeing this? I feel like this is not a crazy political statement. This is like what we're seeing all the time, right? By voting Democrat in the midterms and having a Democratic Congress, what it does is it checks the president and it shows the GOP that unless they change what they're doing and actually keep the promises that they make and run on and actually give the people what they are wanting, because that is the entire idea, right? We, the people, vote for who represents us the best. And if they don't represent us, then we don't vote for them. It is that simple. It is that simple. If you're complaining about the different things that the government is doing and all these other problems that the government has, it's like by not voting them, it shows them that they don't just get to say whatever they want and then get into office when they're elected and then completely forget about the base that voted them. We're seeing this with Trump right now. And despite all of my issues with Democrats and some of their beliefs and systems and whatnot, it's a very solid plan. Because think about it, if we're confined to a two-party system, then we should use the two-party system, right? If the government isn't doing what we want it to do, and they're able to, because that House, the Senate, and the presidency are all GOP Republican majority, they can do whatever they want. If they wanted to, they would. Nick talks about this all the time. If the president wanted to mass deport, he would. If J.D. Vance wanted to be against the war, he would be more vocal about it, right? And we'll get into that here in a second. But by voting Democrat, it slows down the government that you are already saying you have problems with. But it's a Democrat. They're going to do this. Okay, that's fine. We know what they're going to do. We know what they're going to do. I would rather have someone where I know what they're going to do and I know the outcome that's going to occur than vote someone in who lies to me and says, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And then they get in and then they don't do it. Do you see the point there? Do you see that premise, right? The devil you know versus the shape-shifting, two-face, lying party and candidates that we continually vote for. Now, let's get into the Nick controversy. Nick has been very vocal the last couple of months about voting Democrat in the midterms, especially now that the migration and the DACA stuff has been undone, basically, that we're not doing it anymore. Because of this, you have people on Twitter and in the media writing out hit pieces, and all of these people who said that they were dissident right or right wing, this is the center right, the people who it is red no matter who and no matter what, I'm voting Republican or GOP, right? Those Democrat, no Democrat, no matter what, right? Those people are now saying that Nick is a Fed and that there's something else going on because all of a sudden he's voting Democrat and encouraging people to vote Democrat. Now, as he has outlined, and as I previously have outlined in this video, there's a reason for it. He's not saying vote Democrat just because, right? He's not saying that. He has his legitimate points and arguments for it. Now, my thoughts on the situation are like this. Vivek Ramaswamy is best friends with J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance and Vivek are in bed with Little Tech, Anduril, Peter Thiel, stuff like that. This is my belief. I believe that those who are calling Nick a Fed, those who are saying that we can never vote Democrat no matter what, those people are also secretly in bed with Little Tech. Because let's just take Ohio, for example. If Vivek is not voted in, one, it doesn't give him a national platform to potentially run for presidency at some point in time. It also takes away the possibility of kickbacks to little tech, because look at what Anduril is trying to do. They're building everything in Ohio, and they need Vivek to be the governor so that they can get in and bypass all the legislation and all of the zoning and all the other political and government things that they would need to do. That is why I believe a lot of these people who are saying, oh, well, Nick got the call after J6. Oh, and that's another point. If you haven't gone through and read Nick's disposition on the J6 and his committee and the trial that he was at, you should go and read it. Go through, Control F, and type in Fifth. You'll be amazed. Every question that he is able to answer Fifth Amendment to, he answers to. You know why? Because he's not a snitch. Look at the aftermath of what happened to Nick after January 6th. He was debanked. He was put on the no-fly list. He wasn't able to even have credit card processing. Everything that he's talked about, right? I don't understand how we're still saying that Nick was a Fed after J6. All the people saying that he's a Fed are the people that he red-pilled himself. That's the like beautiful irony about this, is that it's all the people that took Nick and got red-pilled by him and now are saying that he's a Fed. And it's like they're not even hiding it. It's so coordinated. It's just like every other time this has happened. Dan Bilzerian will say something, and then everyone will start reposting and saying it. And it's just like, okay, was this another group chat? Like what is happening here? Like, at least try and make it look organic. You know what I mean? But again, with these Fed accusations, it's because Nick is saying and telling his base and his fans to vote Democrat. And the people who are opposed to it are the people who are in the center right, the red no matter who, I will never vote Democrat. There is no way for them to hold political nuance. And Nick explains it much better than me, and I need to still research it. And if you have anything, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. It's been a very interesting political situation. What did you think of this video? Let me know in the comments. That's all I've got for today. I know that it's not the greatest political analysis breakdown, but I figured I needed to get something out and say something because this is a very hot topic right now. And who knows, anything can happen. I'm willing to be corrected, but at the same time, it's also like, if we don't do this now, what is going to happen in 2028? What is the presidency going to look like? Politics are the things that happen behind the scenes. The things that are happening right now, this is politics. By the time the presidential election comes around, none of that matters to a certain extent. What happens now is what is important, okay? This right now is what's important. And so that's all my thoughts on it. And I know that it's not the neatest video ever, but I just needed to get my thoughts out. So I appreciate it. Drop a like, comment, follow. Subscribe to my Rumble channel. I'm going to have an exclusive coming out soon. And yeah, hope you guys are doing great. God bless, and I pray for all of you. All right, later.